A world devastated by unimaginable creatures where only one man stands atop the food chain. Saitama. The only issue is he's an unemployed nobody struggling to make a living. Elsewhere, a mad scientist is attempting to make his bodybuilder brother the strongest creature in the world. Mad with power, he accidentally kills the mad scientist and goes on a rampage. Only to be finished with one. The morning after, Saitama is ambushed by sea dwellers. He puts up a heroic fight, finally defeating them one by one until he faces their leader. As he rushes forward to challenge such a specimen, he realizes that it was all simply a dream. The next day, Genos, a chivalrous robot, attempts to exterminate a female mosquito humanoid. Having trouble, he decides to incinerate everything around him, but mistakenly catches Saitama in the crossfire. The humanoid, having been injured, decides to evolve and heal all wounds and injuries afflicted onto her. As she begins to overwhelm the robot, he has no other choice but to self-destruct and take the humanoid with him, only for Saitama to step in and slap her out of existence. Later, the robot decides to declare Saitama his master, only to move in order to obtain Saitama's strength. As they are chatting, they are interrupted and cornered by empowered animals. An armored gorilla decides to challenge Genos but swiftly concedes when he realizes Saitama has taken out his feline friend. After questioning the attackers, Genos and Saitama track down the locations of their headquarters. The boss in charge, afraid he'll die, unleashes his most terrifying experiment in the form of a beetle. Cutting to our heroes, they are suddenly ambushed, the creature slamming Genos into a wall, declaring that Saitama and him fight in a separate room. Genos, having been defeated once, interrupts only to be taken out by the beetle. Dashes blindingly fast behind Saitama only for the beetle to notice Saitama to be patiently observing its moves. In shock, it bolts backwards, making space between him and Saitama, demanding why its insect instincts are sending danger signals from our bald protagonist. Genos and the boss, in shock, both demand how he achieved such power to scare off such a terrifying creature, only to be met with Saitama stating his training regime was 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats and 10 kilometers run every day for 3 years until he went bald. In awe of this useless information, the beetle decides to unleash its final form, allowing for him to stand toe-to-toe with Saitama, bouncing him off walls within the facility. Only when the beetle has decided it's all over, Saitama ends this farce, declaring that he's forgotten a sale at the food supermarket today, rushing out of the facility. After a long week, Saitama decides to sleep in whilst villains the Paradisers decide to cause havoc. Having stolen our protagonist's signature bald head, Saitama decides to take measures into his own hands. Meanwhile, a fellow hero, Moomin Rider, intercepts the villains only to be dispatched. Along the villains' journey, they encounter a ninja which challenges them to a duel, only to assassinate each of the villains one by one, only leaving the villain's leader. Setting a trap for our ninja, the villain underestimates his speed but is mistaken once the final strike was dealt by the ninja. The battle trying to pick a fight with Saitama, the villain soon learns not to mess with our hero as Saitama shatters the villain's ego with a single strike and once again flees the scene. Once the ninja catches up, they mistake Saitama to be part of the villains due to his bald head. The ninja attempts to dispatch Saitama twice but fails. Having found a valuable opponent, the ninja ecstatically dashes around Saitama, showing off his signature speed, only to be bested when Saitama catches him off guard and damages the ninja's man bits. Clearly wounded, the ninja declares Saitama his rival, and as he sound Sonic flees the scene. Saitama, realizing he's been wasting time at home and low on money, he finally decides to apply for a job to be a full-fledged hero with Genos, applying to the Heroes Association. Starting the test, Saitama is underestimated by fellow applicants, only to exceed their expectations with his overall speed and strength. The only issue is, although he excels in the physical test, he's not the sharpest when it comes to the written test. Rewarding his disciple for making it into the highest rank amongst heroes, Saitama decides to duel Genos. Taking it easy at first, only to following Genos, we see that his first day as an S-rank hero has him dealing with an asteroid threatening the existence of a nearby city. During his mission, he encounters an older gentleman who asks him to evacuate. Being inspired, Genos attempts to incinerate the meteor as the old man stands in awe. Sadly, it has no effect. With no hope, Saitama makes his entrance. With one punch he shatters the meteor, turning pieces, saving the city from the mass. A few days later, on a rainy day, we see amphibious creatures rise from the depths of the seas, terrorizing humans. Fellow heroes step up and slay these creatures, but they are simply too overwhelmed when the king of the sea demands a challenger. A fellow S-rank Puri prisoner and Speed O Sonic steps up to the challenge. Puri prisoner unleashes his ultimate form only to be dismantled by the Sea King. Next up, Sonic is able to avoid the Sea King's movements until it truly begins to pour. As the rain rejuvenates the Sea King, he is able to frighten off our ninja. Moving on to other prey, the Sea King decides to feast on humans hiding nearby. Nearby heroes step up to distract the Sea King but are swiftly taken out. Cutting to Saitama, he's contacted by the Heroes Association. Back at where the Sea King is, we see Genos at the scene putting on a decent fight, holding back the Sea King from devouring civilians. But is forced to overextend when the Sea King decides to prioritize a civilian over him during their brawl. Now at a disadvantage, Genos awaits his demise. Saitama enters the fray, checking on the civilians and Genos and properly dealing with the Sea King with a single punch. After several weeks, the Hero Association calls for a meeting of the S-ranks and Saitama. Having heard of a prophecy from the most reliable prophet in the world, the president of the association begin to rain from the sky in a huge spaceship. Creatures emerge from the rubble, threatening the existing civilians. But S-rank hero Atomic Samurai steps in, slicing the creature into pieces only for it to regenerate as if nothing had occurred. Knowing that this creature is unlike the others, other S-rank heroes join forces to challenge this monstrosity as Saitama is making his way to the central control. Back at our S-rank heroes, they realize that the creature drops orbs hidden behind its flesh, where the flesh continues to clump around it, acting as the creature's core. Realizing this, the tides begin to turn in favor of our heroes. Having made it to the control room, Saitama is forced to deal with a telekinetic octopus only to burst the octopus's head with a piece of rubble. Due to the loss of its control room director, the spaceship releases hundreds of missiles to assist with the creature facing the S-rank heroes. Funnily enough, every single missile is reflected right back into the spaceship using S-rank hero Terrible Tornado's telekinesis. Cutting to Saitama, he stands in the presence of the commander of the ship, Boros. With one punch, Saitama sends Boros off his throne and right into a nearby wall. Having shattered Boros's space armor, Boros smiles with glee as he transforms, elevating his physical capabilities. He dashes towards Saitama, throwing punches as Saitama steps back, parrying and avoiding said punches. In the midst of the battle, Boros loses his arm but is able to easily regenerate it. Having torn open the spaceship, Boros decides to once again evolve, ascending his physical capabilities once again, blasting Saitama out of this world and onto the moon. But with a simple leap, Saitama re-enters Earth's atmosphere and appears once again before Boros. Having no other option, Boros has to self-destruct if it means that he won't be defeated, but as he threatens the existence of Earth itself, Saitama has to get serious for once and unleash a serious punch, blowing Boros away.